played for you. Now let's talk about how you guys can play for us. Would you all make sure you have your worksheets handy? So in a couple minutes, what we are going to do is we are going to break into, where'd my worksheet go? Oh well, I know what's on it. I wrote it after all. Oh, here it is. So we have this lead sheet on the back. Everybody see this guy? Let's look at that really quickly, okay? So this is what we all are going to work with today. This is Sonny Rollins' blues classic, Tenor Madness. This appears on an album by the same exact name, Tenor Madness. And one of the really cool things about it is, in addition to it featuring Sonny Rollins on tenor saxophone, it features his best buddy also on this track. Do you know who his best buddy was and his idol? John Coltrane. So John Coltrane also solos on this classic tune. And it's just a wonderful thing to remember that with all the jazz masters, it was never competition. It was all about playing music together and growing together and learning how we could play better at all times. So this is what we call a lead sheet in jazz music. Typically, in jazz, we have a lead sheet that has a melody, chord changes above it, showing us what harmony coincides with the melody. And then underneath what I did, so it would be a little bit easier to understand, is we have just what we call slash notation. So that means that everything's going as normal with the exception of there's no melody there, because that's what we're creating. That's what we're improvising. So you'll notice that the harmony, the chords that are above each measure, are still progressing at the same rate that they are above. The only difference is someone's creating their own unique melody at that point. So far, so good. Any questions about that? Guys all with me? Now, there's a couple things that I did with this so that you could take it above and beyond what we're doing together today. If you look at measure 12 and 13 of the melody, everybody see measure 12 and 13? We see lots of notes there, don't we? The big notes, those are the primary melody notes. The small notes that are above and below the melody are harmony notes that I wrote for you guys, so that when you're playing with friends, no matter what the instrumentation is, you can just choose who will play what. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to demonstrate this for you. These guys, we're all going to play the melody one time through without the harmony. So we're going to hear unison melody from these gentlemen when we get there, okay? So here we are at the top. We'll play one time through, and then we'll talk, okay? So here's the head of Tenor Madness. A 1, a 2, a 2, 3. All right. So that was how many measures long? 12 bars, because it's a 12-bar or 12-measure blues. So were most of us able to follow along with that melody as they played it? So now what we're going to do is show you how you can use the harmony parts when you're at home playing with others. So for now, Stuart is going, when we get to the 12th and 13th bar there, you're going to hear Stuart play the upper notes, the small upper notes. It'll be an upper harmony. We're going to hear David continue to play the center notes, and then Carl is going to play the bottom notes. And so let's see how that affects the sound. Here's the beginning again. A 1, a 2, a 2, 3. Oh, hey, that sounds different, right? So in that way, you can very easily have an arrangement with a lead sheet. Does that make sense? Now the cool thing is you can mix and match who does what. So let's mix it up. Let's have Carl play the top notes. Let's have Stuart play the middle notes and Dave play the bottom notes. So we're just going to start at what is measure 10 on your lead sheet, okay? So let's hear how it changes it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. It's just a different flavor, isn't it? It's like chocolate ice cream versus vanilla ice cream. I like them both. Just depends on what day it is, right? Like, sometimes I want pistachio. Well, I actually don't ever want pistachio ice cream. That's evil. Don't ever eat pistachio ice cream. I'm not here to tell you how you live your life, but I don't know about pistachio ice cream. What's that? Yeah, James is a Haagen-Dazs strawberry fan. James is kind of a foodie. You got to watch him. He'll criticize the food you eat. Like, he will. He'll be like, "You're going to eat that?" He's very, like, humble about it, but internally he's judging what you eat. He's done it to me. He's like, oh, you're going there? Okay. You know how if someone gives you a sarcastic answer that makes you feel kind of like doo-doo? He'll do that to you. Like, hey, James, I'm going to go eat lunch at Fuzzy's. He goes, oh, I mean, if that's okay. And it makes, it's like the sarcastic clap. So did you hear how those harmony parts differ? Okay? So that's something you can have fun with when you're learning it. And so the other most important thing that we want to make sure first and foremost we can do is before we start creating our own unique melody, improvising, we need to know the melody we're working with, right? That is where all the basic building blocks of jazz improvisation are built upon. They're built upon the original melody, which is directly associated with the chords that are progressing with it. So we're going to show you that right now. What we're going to do is we're going to play one time through the melody together, the head. And then we're going to go down the line. David is going to improvise first. He is going to create his own melody, but softly underneath, Stuart and Carl are going to play the head so you can hear the relationship. And then after David's solo, Stuart is going to improvise while Carl and David play the melody softly underneath, etc., etc. We'll go through all of that, and just like we always do in jazz, at the very end, we're going to play the head again. If you're ever playing with jazz musicians and you see one of them doing this does not mean that they need Advil. Well, maybe they do. It depends how well you're playing. They might need Advil, but what this means is play the head, right? Play the head. Does that make sense? So far, so good? Okay. Now, if they hold up a finger, and it's a finger other than this one, things might not be going well, unless it's a thumb. Hopefully, it's a thumb, right? So I'm hoping that David doesn't give me a finger other than the thumb. Is a thumb a finger? Is it considered a finger? No, I heard a no. It's a digit. I like that. It's a digit. Here we go at the beginning. Here's the head. A 1, 2, 2. So, did you hear the relationship between what was improvised and the melody? I noticed some interesting things. I noticed at times, holy cow, Chris McGuire. That's a really great musician right there. Everybody say hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Thanks for coming, Chris. Is that your son?
That's my son.
You grew up, man. Holy moly. Wow. Well, now I feel a lot of pressure because Chris is standing there. I want to play better. So did you guys hear the relationship between the head and the solos? I noticed some really interesting things. Particularly, do you remember what Stuart played? There were some times where Stuart was using the exact rhythms of the melody, but playing different pitches. Did you notice that? And also, with all three of these gentlemen, did you notice that while they were improvising, even if they weren't using the exact rhythms, did you notice how often their musical phrases coincided with the musical phrases of the head? And did you hear Josh, James, and I constantly referencing that material?